came in and I saw that my back door had been broken in, so I went to the back and I could see footsteps in the snow, so I ran up to my room to see if my roommate was okay. I have two roommates.
Okay.
One of them's dead, and the other one is in her room and she's still alive and she needs help, and I ran because I didn't know if he was still in the house.
Belgrade Police!
Police department!
Anybody inside, come out! How many people are inside? We're making entry. How many people?
I am the police!
I'm the police, right here.
Where are you?
I'm right here. Can you see me?
Where are you?
I'm right here.
Where?
What happened to you? Where are you bleeding from?
I'm not bleeding.
Okay, well, how do you have blood all over you?
Do I?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why I do.
I'm right here. Can you see me?
No.
Can you see anything?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
On January 7th, 2018, police were drawn into a distressing situation when they received a 911 call at 9:25 a.m. from a frantic man describing a terrifying shooting that had taken place in his neighborhood. What seemed like a typical emergency call would soon unravel into something far more sinister and unexpected.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I live at the next door neighbor. She just came over in barracks and said somebody shot her roommate.
Okay. Did it just happen?
Yeah, she said it just happened. She needs an ambulance in her place. So
Okay.
the roommate Ashley is the one that's still alive.
She is still alive?
She said she is, yes.
Okay, tell her to take a deep breath, okay? I'm going to ask you some questions. Is Ashley bleeding seriously?
Was she bleeding? Yes, she said yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Do we know if Ashley's completely alert?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, she just saw it and she just ran.
Okay.
After receiving the call, police met at Paul's Silver Maple home at 1306 Idaho Street, where they were met by Audria Butler, who was visibly shaken by the brazenness of the attack. However, Audria explained that she was the roommate of the women who had been victims of the shooting and that she'd stumbled upon the nerve-wracking scene that morning at 8:55 a.m. At the crime scene, what the officers were about to discover would prove even more unsettling.
What's going on?
I stayed with friends last night, and I just came in and I saw that my back door had been broken in, so I went to the back and I could see footsteps in the snow, so I ran up to my room to see if my roommate was okay. I have two roommates.
Okay.
One of them's dead, and the other one is in her room and she's still alive and she needs help, and I ran because I didn't know if he was still in the house.
Okay, so you don't know if there's somebody else in the house?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Okay.
Lauren looks like she's been in a while, and Ashley's asked me for help and I ran.
Okay. Is this door open?
Yes.
So we have two people upstairs. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Help, Ashley.
One was dead, one was alive. It was a daunting task for the police as they tried to determine who the primary target of the killer was, or if both women were the intended victims. With cameras capturing every move, officers slowly approached the house as their main priority was to save the other woman who was still alive. With guns drawn, they moved carefully as the killer could still be inside, waiting for his next victim.
She said this is open. I didn't see any footprints in the snow leading up here. So, you ready?
Yep. Belgrade Police!
Police department!
Anybody inside, come out!
Going this way. Bye.
I got stairwell.
Police!
Son, 326.
Kitchen clear.
All right.
Garage.
Okay. Five 93206. Where are you at? We're making entry right now. How many people are inside? We're making entry. How many people?
Garage clear. Up the stairs. We're coming.
Belgrade Police, show me your hands. The doors on the left and right.
Okay. We've got she's cold to touch.
Okay. The video. Okay. All right, let's back up.
They now had to move forward towards the next room from where a woman's voice was still pleading for help. The danger wasn't over yet, and they had to be prepared for what was far more surprising.
Police!
Hey! I'm in here!
Hello? Police?
Please don't shoot me!
Who shot you?
No, please don't shoot me!
I'm not gonna shoot you, ma'am.
My name's Ashley!
Ashley, what's going on? Who shot you?
Nobody!
Oh, what happened?
I don't know! Please come here!
Who did?
Are you the police?
I'm the police, right here.
Where are you?
I'm right here. Can you see me?
Where are you?
I'm right here.
Where?
Can you tell me what happened?
I don't know, sir.
You don't know, Ashley? Okay,
No.
my name's Officer Robinson, okay?
What's your name?
My name's Officer Robinson.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Ashley Van Hemert was found in a critical state with multiple gunshots, but the officers had no idea that what they'd uncovered was just the tip of the iceberg.
What happened to you? Where are you bleeding from?
I'm not bleeding.
Okay, well, how do you have blood all over you?
Do I?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why I do. Show me your face then.
I'm right here. Can you see me?
No,
Can you see anything?
no,
No?
no.
Okay.
Please help me.
We're gonna help you, okay?
Please help me.
We've got the medical people coming. Where do you hurt?
I don't hurt anywhere.
You don't hurt anywhere?
No.
Grab around the front.
Yeah, we got a blanket.
Ashley, we're gonna pick you up and we're gonna carry you down to the paramedics, okay?
What are you doing, sir?
We're gonna pick you up and carry you.
Carrying me there. Where are you carrying
We're coming down.
Yeah. Just as far as I can get the door. We're gonna go out to the. I don't want them to pass the sidewalk right here. Who's the most senior paramedic?
The entire neighborhood was in disbelief over the events that had unfolded. While Ashley, though critically injured, remained miraculously conscious, the tragic news was that her roommate Lauren, who had only moved in with them the previous year in 2017, was not able to save herself.
I was at the bank in the morning on Monday morning, and she had a 10 o'clock appointment. So I texted her, said, hey, your 10 o'clock is here. Let me know when you're going to be here. But there was no answer. About a half hour after that, everybody came downstairs, locked the doors, and told us that she was found dead. I was like, what? I was in shock because I was just like, there's no way. No way, that can't be true.
To piece together the events of what really happened the night before, the officers at the crime scene examined every nook and cranny of the house. However, they got their first clue when Audria led them to the back door of the house. She explained that when she returned that morning at 8:55 a.m., she found broken pieces of the door frame scattered on the floor. In Lauren's room, officers found 4 shell casings, and in Ashley's room, they discovered 5, which after testing confirmed they were from a .22 caliber gun. But the most integral clue was the bloody footprints left in the snow, tracing a path from the east side of the house, around the north, and leading to the back door. Fortunately, the footprints remained intact, which allowed investigators to take careful impressions for testing. These footprints held the potential to be the crucial breakthrough they desperately needed, but the process would take time. As they awaited results, the officers braced themselves for what seemed to be an unimaginably sadistic plot which would unravel itself very soon. They'd launched their homicide investigation, and the appalling details of the crime would only start to make sense once the police determined who the real target was as they delved into the twisted mind of the killer. As the detectives continued to solve the mystery of the night, they received a crucial call from the hospital the next day that Ashley was now out of danger and ready to talk. Ashley had sustained gunshot wounds to the back of her head, her carotid artery, and her right arm, along with broken ribs. Despite this, detectives were hopeful that Ashley, the surviving victim, could provide crucial details about the crime and perhaps even identify the killer. They approached her with care, aiming to gather as much information as possible without overwhelming her. However, they weren't prepared for what they were about to hear.
So obviously, we're here to talk to you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to have some questions, but mostly we just want to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Just starting out,
Yes.
and I know this is kind of a tough question, but can you tell me, do you remember anything at all?
When I got shot?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
I remember waking up in the hospital. I don't really remember actually waking up in the hospital. I remember kind of doing the I love you sign to my brother when I was, obviously laying in the hospital bed. But no, I do not remember being shot at all. Or however many times they shot me. I think they got me in the shoulder, and I think in the elbow too. Obviously the head.
Well, yeah, you're a lucky gal, but everything that I've heard so far is, you're a fighter.
It's a miracle I'm alive. I thank God every day.
For detectives, Ashley's lack of memory was a major setback. So they decided to change their approach, attempting to jog her memory by recounting everything she did the night before the attack, as they hoped to uncover anything that seemed unusual.
So Saturday, this would have been before I got shot, obviously, the day before I got shot. We went to a place in Livingston. It was a hotel.
And you said Ralph drove you home?
Yes, he did.
Can you tell me, do you remember anything from the drive home?
I don't remember a whole lot, no. Maybe if you ask me a more specific question, I might be able to answer. I don't know.
Do you remember any conversations that you guys were having?
Not really specifically, no.
Going from when Ralph dropped you off, what's the last thing you remember that night?
Really, the last thing I remember is I gave him a kiss goodnight and in the car, and he was like, okay, I'll watch you go and get inside, and I was like, of course you will. So then I went inside, I shut the door, obviously. And really from there on, I don't remember too much.
That night, Ashley had been with her boyfriend, Ralph Denis, who was the last person to visit and leave the house. The officers quickly became suspicious of Ralph's potential involvement in the murder. It was crucial to determine whether Lauren was mistakenly targeted instead of Ashley, or if the motive behind the attack was something else entirely. The police had tracked Ralph down to his residence to question him, but their goal was not to make him feel at ease, but rather to create a sense of panic.
So, Ralph, I'm a detective with the sheriff's office, and I did some of the processing of the scene at the house. Mm-hmm. And so I have some information and I have some questions about stuff that I saw there.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
So tell me, when did you guys start dating?
Roughly December last year, so a year and change ago. Okay. Just over a year.
Okay. And how do you characterize your relationship with her right now?
We've been attempting to break up with each other for several weeks, and pretty much this week we decided together that it was the right thing to do, is to not date each other anymore.
When was the last time you actually had contact with her?
With Ashley?
Yeah.
Last night when I dropped her off.
And that was after the Livingston trip?
After the Livingston trip, right around. We decided it was a little bit before 9 o'clock.
What time did you go to bed last night, Ralph?
Pretty much, I'm going to say, look at my phone, that's how I would do everything, but I said goodnight to Ashley and I was up for a little while longer, maybe an hour.
So you're thinking around 11 o'clock when you went to bed?
Thinking so.
Did you go anywhere after?
No, I stayed.
Did you attempt to kill Ashley?
No.
Did you attempt to kill her roommate?
No.
Have you been in that house last night?
No. Do you believe me? Why not? You gotta ask.
Would you be willing to let us dump your phone to retrieve your GPS locations, that kind of stuff off of your phone?
Yep.
Ralph remained surprisingly cooperative throughout the questioning, and detectives also noticed that he wasn't trying to mislead them with any false statements or deceptive emotions. They also seized his phone to check his GPS location and took a DNA sample for testing. But when the results came back, they cleared all doubt about Ralph's involvement. Despite being the last person to leave the house that night, the evidence showed that he hadn't gone inside the house or attacked anyone. After interviewing Ralph, the detectives shifted their focus to the second victim, Lauren, and began looking into her background to see if anyone could have a potential motive to harm her in any possible way. As they dug deeper, they discovered that Lauren was married to a man named Joseph Paul DeWise, and together they had a daughter. Joseph also had 2 children, Joe and Natalie, from a previous marriage. Initially, the blended family lived together, but tension soon arose, and Lauren had already filed for divorce as she was unhappy with their marriage. So, in 2017, she finally moved to Idaho Street with Audria and Ashley. One piece of information that caught the detectives' attention was the reason for the couple's separation. Joseph had been consistently abusive towards Lauren, and it was well known among friends and family that she often had numerous bruises, cut marks, severe burns, and other signs of violence on her body. This disturbing history gave the detectives a solid reason to consider Joseph a suspect. They needed to bring Joseph in to question him about the murder, but they had to be cautious. Given the involvement of weapons in the crime, there was a real danger that Joseph might suddenly turn violent. As he drove home, the officer strategically stopped his car at a traffic light, being ready for a potentially dangerous encounter.
What? Okay, door. Keep your hands up. Okay, go ahead and get out. This is not time to think. Get out. Hands up.
Hands up. Walk over here. Turn around. Look away from me. Walk backwards. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Do not move. Do you understand me? Take him to the back of my car. All right.
After arresting Joseph, the officers loaded him into their car and brought him in for questioning, but this wasn't going to be an easy one.
So the reason that I wanted to talk to you is there was some issues that happened over at Lauren's house this morning, and I just kind of wanted to touch base with you to see if you were over there at all, if kind of where you were this morning, that kind of thing. Well, someone broke into the back door of her place, and so we're trying to get all of the stuff together, and from what I understand, you guys were separated and working on a divorce, and that's kind of where we're at.
Sure, right?
Well, not really. She isn't. Well, the person that came in ended up shooting her. So
she's dead?
Yeah. So
oh my God.
So that's why we're talking to you, because you guys are going through a divorce, and from what I understand, and we need to kind of figure out what's going on.
And so absolutely anything that you can tell us that might give us a little clarity would be helpful for both of us.
This is news to me. I don't know anything about it.
Complete news, complete surprise.
They told me when they picked me up they're investigating a homicide. I did not think there's some weird stuff's been happening since I've been in Bozeman. So I'm like, geez,
Yeah.
Well, let me just say right off the bat, I understand Lauren, regardless of your relational issues. I understand.
I love her.
Lauren's very important to you.
I love her.
And I'm so sorry that you're going through this right now.
Joseph displayed all the signs of being deeply saddened and disturbed by his wife's death. For the detectives, it was challenging to determine whether he was the grieving husband or the killer sitting before them. They needed a clearer understanding of the relationship between Joseph and Lauren, knowing that in such cases, everyone is a suspect until proven otherwise.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the separation has been going?
It depends on who you ask. Like, for her, it's fine. For me, it's been really tough.
I want to know from you.
I've had trouble dealing with it, you know?
Can you, let's just start with a basic timeline. So what about last evening, last night, as detailed as you can, say from the end of dinner time? Tell me about what you did.
I fell asleep again. I'm not sure when I slept.
What time do you think you went to bed?
Gosh, it was late. Actually, it did go out. I went and got a 6-pack of beer around midnight at Town Pump. I went to bed around 2.
And that was about midnight? You got a 6-pack of beer, right?
Yep.
Here, Joseph provided an alibi, claiming he was out with his son Joe the night of the attack. Now, to verify the alibi's validity, the detectives needed to interview Joe as a corroborating witness. However, before that, with no concrete evidence to hold Joseph, they had to release him from custody, but they did seize his phone to search for potential clues. So, while the process continued, Joe was summoned to provide his account of the night's events.
Just so you understand who I am, my name's Jeremy Kopp. I'm the detective sergeant for the sheriff's office. Okay? Obviously, you know what happened to Dad. Given that, then I need to be able to sit down and be able to talk to you. Right? How was your relationship with her?
We were close.
Yeah.
She was like my mom, but
okay.
She wasn't my mom. But she was pretty much like my mom.
Let's go to Saturday. And just walk me through Saturday.
Okay. Day before Sunday. So Saturday, let's see, starting morning. I got up around like maybe 12-ish, around 12.
Joe had a detailed and clear recollection of the events from that day. He described his activities leading up to the attack and confirmed he was with his father throughout the night, including their visit to the beer shop.
Why'd you go?
I just go with him, just because.
Yeah. Excuse me. I mean, do you hang with your dad quite a bit?
Yeah.
You were just pretty tight?
Yeah. So we just...
Fair enough to say.
Just whatever we do. Yeah.
Is it just you and Dad then on the beer run?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you don't recall hearing any doors or anything open when you go to bed?
Right. Everything's quiet.
Okay. So it's important that you and I, as we kind of work through the details, that we're completely truthful with each other.
Right.
Okay. That's pretty important.
Right.
What do you think happened?
She was in her home sleeping, and as I know from what my dad told me, body, it could have been drugs or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it could be drugs. I don't know.
Who do you think could do something like that?
I have no idea.
No guesses.
I don't really know, but
yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be my dad. He was.
Both Joseph and Joe's statements matched up perfectly. Also, after checking the CCTV footage from the beer shop, it captured Joseph entering and leaving at the specified times, confirming his alibi. This evidence cleared him of any immediate suspicion and shifted the focus back to the investigation. With Ralph and Joseph cleared as suspects, the detectives found themselves back at square one. They needed to revisit the case from scratch, reconstructing the timeline of events and re-examining every piece of evidence. Despite their efforts, they had found no additional fingerprints at the crime scene beyond the victims, which made the case even more perplexing. It was a grueling process, but not for a long time, as soon the disturbing story would start to unfold. The detectives received a critical call from the crime lab that changed everything. After extensive testing, they discovered that the photograph of the boot prints from the crime scene showed not just one, but two distinct sets of footprints. The significant detail suggested that there could have been two suspects involved in the homicide. Moreover, one of the footprints was noticeably smaller than the other. This information immediately struck the detectives and spurred them into action. They remembered that Joseph and Joe had been out together that night, and Joe's footprints were smaller than his father's. Suspicion turned back to Joseph, but they had to proceed with caution. Joseph could easily present himself as a victim or flee the country if he faced danger. With this in mind, the detectives decided to bring in Joe for another interview to extract more details about the night of the murder without alerting Joseph to their renewed suspicions.
So yesterday, you and I kind of talked about the timeline and what everybody had done on Saturday, and we talked about that kind of in detail going into Sunday morning, the 7th, right? Okay. So, let's start with this.
Joe had stuck to his story and repeated the same account he'd given before. But the interrogator sensed something was off. Joe seemed nervous, as if he was hiding something. So the interrogator decided to take a different approach by offering Joe support and understanding to coax out the truth. Slowly, the walls Joe had built around himself began to crumble, revealing the chilling truth, which was his father's horrifying secret.
Okay. That's pretty accurate to what you told me yesterday. Which is unfortunate, because I don't think that's actually what happened. And I was hoping that today you and I could break through that and we could talk about what actually happened. Because if I can't get you to be honest with me, I can't help you. And I don't believe that you're being completely truthful with me. And I don't know exactly why. But I'm not willing to give up on you. I think that we can get through it. Okay? I know that this is really hard for you to sit here. I know it. I can see the weight on you. And the only way I can help is if you and I are honest with each other. I can't help. I can't do anything if you and I aren't honest with each other in here. Okay?
Please, son. Please.
Okay. Was it just your dad?
Come on, son.
Can you tell me what it was? And then what did he tell you?
Love you. I didn't think. I love you, dear Dad. It's bad. I just family. I love you.
You knew what he was going to do.
I did. I was stopped. But no, Dad, you can't do that. You're going to lose you. You can't do that. I didn't know. You didn't tell me. Dad stopped him. I would have totally.
Was it you or him? Tell me.
It was him.
It was pain when he finally got to that point of releasing, and he whispered the answer the first time. Just being with him in that moment. Because it was hard.
Joyce. I was afraid for my sisters.
I know you were.
I didn't have a choice. I had to.
And then how far did you go back? How far did you go in the house? Could you see the stairs? Could you see the stairs?
Yeah.
Could you hear him?
Yes.
What'd you hear?
What the hell is wrong with you? He said, go. Get him, go.
Father,
On the evening of January 6th, Joseph suddenly asked his son to get ready because they were going out. As they drove, Joe realized they were heading to Belgrade and started to feel uneasy as his stepmother lived there on Idaho Street. His dad had also told him to leave his phone on his bed, which struck him as odd. When Joseph parked the car a few houses down from Lawrence, Joe's bad feeling intensified. It was around midnight when Joseph pulled a small caliber semi-automatic pistol from his waistband. He told Joe that if he did as instructed, everything would be okay. Joseph handed Joe a pair of plastic gloves and a mask, putting on his own. They walked silently to the back of the house where Lauren lived. Wearing work boots, they paused briefly on the back deck before Joseph kicked in the door. After checking all the rooms downstairs, he headed upstairs, with Joe following closely behind. Joseph held the pistol in his right hand as he opened the bedroom door, turned on the light, and shot Ashley multiple times within a matter of seconds. Then he opened another bedroom door without turning on the light, and Joe heard a terrified gasp followed by more gunshots. They immediately rushed back to the car and left the scene. Joseph drove to a town pump, tucking the pistol into his waistband before heading inside, while Joe remained in the car, feeling nauseous and trying to steady his breathing, as soon Joseph returned with a six-pack of beer and they drove home. Once they returned home, Joseph dumped the boots, which could link him to the crime. He also ordered Joe to dispose of some old smoke grenades and .22 ammunition at Bozeman Pond Park, which the detectives later retrieved. That night, Joseph coached his son on what to say about the night's events. He threatened Joe warning him not to incriminate him and to stick to the story that they'd been home all evening watching television. Terrified for his sister, whom Joseph had always abused, Joe obeyed as he feared the dire consequences if he didn't. But that wasn't the end, as detectives also uncovered more disturbing details from Joseph's phone. A thorough search revealed a series of threatening messages and audio recordings that highlighted the abusive dynamic between Joseph and Lauren.
You've always told me that Lauren. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to express myself now. But you're lying. Are you serious?
That's what I'm doing. I'm so tired of you holding up this innocent fake. Tell me. You won't let me know.
I don't think
I've done everything for you. I've given up everything for you. And the only thing you ever cry about is you. That's it. And you know what? I'm gonna. She's gonna happen.
Also, the search of Joseph's house turned up even more damning evidence linking him to the crime. Detectives found .22 caliber ammunition and a magazine matching the gun used in the shootings. Ballistic tests confirmed that the shell casings found at the crime scene matched the ammunition seized from Joseph's residence. Coupled with Joe's incriminating statement and the mounting evidence against him, the detectives requested an arrest warrant for Joseph. It was finally time for him to face the consequences of his actions. During the trial in 2018, both sides presented numerous arguments, but the weight of evidence from the prosecution was overwhelming. A total of 12 people were called to testify, and their hurt and anger towards Joseph were palpable. Each testimony painted a more harrowing picture of Joseph's actions and character.
And I actually started to talk to her, and as I walked closer to the threshold of the door, I saw that she was dead. Ashley was laying on the floor. There was a lot of blood in her memory. She was awake. Her eyes were wide open. She said, "Please help me."
I was shot in the back of the head. I was shot in the right carotid artery. And I know that I was shot on the right side as well.
What's the next day that you can remember after going to bed?
This is no, and this is yes.
Honestly, I didn't know what was going to happen. I started getting a real bad feeling. Before we left the house, he told me to leave my phone on my bed. It was very odd. He opened the first door in the hallway.
Then what happened?
He had his pistol in his right hand, and he opened the door with his left. He stepped dressed into the room past the threshold, and he turned on the light, and someone was in the room.
Detectives also took the stand by presenting the evidence against Joseph.
Can you tell from the records that have been provided when that firearm was purchased?
Yes, according on his phone of an altercation between him, Lauren, and I believe both of the children. The defendant starts threatening her, threatening to kill her. He says very specifically, I think at least 5 times, I'm going to kill you.
Though everything was going nowhere in favor of Joseph, he took the stand, but stuck to his story as he repeated that he was innocent.
I have been in jail for 22 months waiting for an opportunity to explain to a jury that I'm innocent. I never threatened my wife in any way like that. I'm not that kind of a person. I respected and I loved her strength and her individuality. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence out there, all right? But you know what? If a lot of you took a real good look at your life and you thought about things that you did and then something bad happened, you could be in the same boat I'm in. The state wants to put so much pressure on me that I would just crack and take the blame for it so that I could get out of the horrible situation I was in. I have been falsely accused here. I didn't do it. And I don't deserve to go to prison. And what you've done is wrong. Okay? That is the truth.
At the end of the trial, it didn't take long for the jury to reach a verdict.
Joseph Paul DeWise, count 1, to the charge of deliberate homicide of Lauren DeWise, guilty.
Joseph was sentenced to 220 years in prison for the murder of Lauren and the attempted homicide of Ashley without the possibility of parole.
You know, I think in any other case, you would be absolutely ecstatic and gratified, and this is the moment we've been looking for. Given the circumstances of this case, it was absolutely horrifying and heartbreaking. It's tragic, and that any father would ever subject his son to that, it makes you angry, and probably something that I'll never forget.
That one horrifying night forever changed the lives of everyone involved, leaving scars that would never fully heal. Especially Ashley, the surviving victim, was left with a profound impact both physically and emotionally.
Of course, I had questions of, well, why did it have to happen to me as well? Why did I have to get shot? But I've learned through the process that it's not my responsibility to figure out all of the whys. It's my responsibility to just trust in God, that no matter what happens, He is still by my side and I will still prevail through anything. There's one of my favorite lines now that I really go by is, what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good.
What are your thoughts on this case? Did Joseph kill Lauren only because he doubted Lauren's loyalty towards him? Or were there more hidden aspects to his story? We'd love to hear from you. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, don't hesitate to drop your recommendations in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Mysterious 7, for more captivating true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled for the next mystery to unfold. Shout out to these incredible true crime lovers. Your support truly keeps us going. To the rest of the Mysterious 7 family, if you want to get in on the action and get a shout out, join our Crime Police membership today.